Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for inviting me to participate in this graduation function. I must say that the Vision Project has been very helpful to me. If you think of yourself, you could probably look at yourself like a glass that's probably half full of some liquid. As a new immigrant, we can compare ourselves to that glass with some liquid. We come with, as Yasmin mentioned, high levels of education, vast experiences, various cultures. But when you come into a new environment. And the challenge for me when I came was how to transfer into that new environment. How is it that my past experience is going to fit into the new environment? So that was my challenge. The Vision Project has given me the skills and the necessary strategies which I can use to propel myself into my eventual goal of finding meaningful employment in the field of education. My volunteer experience was extremely well. It was good. The principal at the school I went to, Woodbridge Public School, and the principal there, he was excellent. He was very receptive, and he offered all the assistance he could. I was placed to work in special education class, and that teacher, she was awesome. Mrs. Shear, I'll have to, I use this opportunity to thank her very much. She gave me so much information. There was not a day when I went that she didn't have a new bit of information to give me about the public school system, because I had no prior knowledge of the public school system in Canada. So she was very open, and she discussed, and as a matter of fact, she even allowed me to do things on my own to give me that opportunity. So my experience there was very good. At the end of my volunteer experience, what I did was that I did a self-assessment. After this volunteering, what next? So I looked at, what do I want to do? I want to get into the field of education. So I started to do my research. I started to contact school boards, and not by just calling them on the phone, but by actually going in and speaking to people to find out exactly what are the opportunities in the public school system at the various board levels. And I had done some training since I came to Canada to teach English as a second language. So I went out and I started to find institutions, persons who were involved in the teaching of English as a second language, and I made a comprehensive list of possible places to find employment. Because out of my research, I found that it's very difficult to get into the public school system. And it would, it's a very difficult process. It's a very long process. So having done that, I started to visit places. And I'll tell you something. When you visit and you get to speak to people, then it is much better than if you try and make a call and when you're going on internet. It is said that networking is where you find opportunities. So I switch it around and say no net, in that forget about the internet, right? Forget about it. You can do research to find where the job opportunities are, but going on the internet, that is time consuming, and it's not gonna bear the results, right? I also decided that I'm going to have my resume ready at all times. I made my business cards, and I also developed what I call my profile speech. And I'll tell you about business cards, why they're so important. In my current part-time job that I have, I interface with a lot of persons. And it was before I was in the Vision project. And I met someone, and I was having a conversation. And she said to me, "What area are you in?" And I told her, and I spoke to her of my ambitions. And she said to me, "Do you have a card?" I was there, a piece of paper to write my name and my number. That was a lost opportunity. Last week, I visited an institution that teaches, large institution that teaches English as a second language. And I asked to speak to somebody because I am interested in, any openings for whether volunteering or to teach. And the receptionist went away and came back and said, "Oh, nobody's here now, nobody's available." So I went into my pocket, I took out my card, and I said, "This is my card." She took my card, went around, showed it to whoever, came back and said, "Call and make an appointment." Right? So we have to be prepared. And these are the things that I have learned out of the Vision project, that you have to be prepared and you have to have all ongoing in terms of trying to find employment. And you have to basically be structured in what you do. So out of Vision, what have I gotten? V is for volunteering, the key to gaining experience. I is for initiative, which you must take in order to find where you want to go. S is for strategy. You must have a strategy if you want to get ahead. And I is for intense. That is what the job search is. It is intense. It is not something that is laid back. It is intense. And O is for organized. You must be organized. I have a calendar where I write down everything. And I keep track of every place that I visit, every response that I get, so that I can follow up. And N is for now. That is how soon you should act. Thank you.